about a white on white that makes it look so elegant. Hello and welcome back to Crafty Meraki's YouTube channel. My name is Aditi and today I am going to be sharing how I create this Peony inspired white on white card. We are going to be playing with the new release products from Crafty Meraki, the Peony die set, which is so simple and gorgeous. It comes with a detailed layering guide right inside the packaging, which shows you how to put together the pieces that you die cut to create that beautiful bloom. It gives options of composition, which I think are really helpful and handy when creating cards. So what I have here is the dies. So what I have here are the die cuts on white cardstock, and I am going to quickly put together the peony. Now the dies come with a little triangle for alignment, and that is just easy to put together all the pieces and create that bloom. So just following the layering guide, I am gluing down the die cut pieces one over the other, creating the layers. I did end up starting with a wrong layer, but that's okay. That's the reason why I'm using liquid glue. It's easy for me to just pull that out and then put it right over on the top once I have it in the right place. So that's not going to be that hard. So with that, I am just gluing layers, and yes, I haven't yet colored the peony. The thing is, I am working on a white on white, and there are different preferences of doing this. So there are so many options. You could die cut the layers on colored cardstock. You could first die cut the layers and then ink blend them. You could die cut it on watercolor cardstock and watercolor the bloom. Many options with just one single die, and that is what I love about these dies, the versatility. Every time I pick it up and create a peony, I am going to change it up with just maybe the techniques and have a different result. So keeping that in mind, I am back at just gluing down all those layers, and the peony begins to come to life with all the highlights, the shadows, the petal layers. I love this realistic look of this flower. I think this is such a gorgeous and stunning bloom. It comes with two leaves, and then it also comes with that smaller bud, which I think adds so much more to a composition, creating a fuller bouquet when you want to just add more of these blooms. So once I'm done and I'm happy with that, I am going to bring in a light yellow ink. So I'm using Buttercream, and for green I'm using Forest Glades. And I am going to be using these detailed blending brushes from Altenew to add a little tinge of color. Now, white on white, like I said, yes, but I think that tinges of yellow and green is what makes it highlight. Plus, that is what is going to give us the shadows or the highlights for this bloom. So just inwards, I am blending that ink, soft ink blending, nothing too light, adding in a little color there, which I think is going to highlight and bring this to life. Now, at this step, if you want to make a colorful bloom after you've really assembled and glued the layers, you can use similar techniques. Go in with your blending brushes, add color, darken the color wherever you need to, and you will still be able to color the gorgeous bloom. And I think at the crevices, the white is going to show as highlights, and it still makes for gorgeous coloring for these blooms. Now for a little shine, once I have all these elements colored, I am using a foam blending tool with some embossing ink, just running that, dabbing it over all of these floral clusters and sprinkling some clear glitter embossing powder. And that is going to just give me a little sparkle and shine. I think that just adds so much more for a card like this, creating more elegance as we go along. So once I have the powder sprinkled over there, I am using my heat tool to just heat set that, and The color also becomes a little glossy, and I have this glazed look on the flower and the leaves, and I am going to do my best to show that on camera, but that is what you can see, that glitter, that sparkle, that shine. So now all of that is ready, time to build the background. I am going to be using this crafter round cover die cut a panel, and I am going to play with the Meraki Moments Hello Die set. I'm picking just the two layers, the detailed alphabet layer and just the outline layer for the alphabets. I am using a white glitter cardstock for the outline hello, and for the letters I'm just going to create a little ombre cardstock panel. So using the same buttercream ink, I am blending that on white cardstock, and I'm doing that on a partial area so that when I go back and place the die, the top of the letters are going to be yellow while the bottom are going to be white, and that ombre look is going to go in well on this card along with the blooms, just matching everything perfectly. So I have all the die cut layers, and I'm just going to glue these letters. Now you can definitely use double-sided adhesive sheets on the backing of your cardstock before die cutting these letters. I often forget to bring that out and use that. So I'm just using liquid glue, and I am applying the liquid glue directly on the background area where I know the letter is going to sit. Also, I'm just applying a generous amount since that's glitter cardstock. I really want both these layers adhered well together. So once I have my hello all ready, I am using a top fold card base, and I want to leave a little white border all along. So my card base is A2 size, but the cover die, as you know, when it cuts out, is slightly smaller than an A2. So that works well, creating a nice white border all along. Just working with my tone on tone, white on white look. I think that just adds another level of texture and dimension. So nicely adhering everything down in place, I like to use a paper napkin and run brayer or a scoring tool right over that, so I know everything is adhered well to my card base and I am not worried about it popping out. So with that done, now just to assemble the layers, I am going to use foam tape for the flower cluster. I want to create that dimension between the sentiment and the floral cluster, and have the leaves offset. So once I know where I want to place that, I am using liquid glue, just adhering the hello down, and you will see me bringing in some bottles to just place right over that sentiment to make sure that's adhered well and stays down in place. And when that's done, I am just tucking in the leaves behind the flower, making sure they adhere to the foam tape that I already have at the back of the flower, and just have everything down in place, adhere it. It's a very simple composition. I am focusing on the bottom corner of the card to add the floral cluster and tuck in the leaves, and the bud kind of going upwards, tucked beneath the flower, but in a way pointing to the sentiment. I think that just brings our eye from that entire floral cluster up to the sentiment that says hello, and it works very well for a card like this. So when all of that is down in place, adhered, and I'm happy with the way that looks, I am going to complete that with a little splatter. I am using this pearlescent ink that I have. It's not silver, it's not white. It's just got this nice pearlescent effect, and I'm using that again because that is going to bring in a little white but a different kind with that shimmer and shine, and splatter that all around on my card, and complete that with white sequins, again just tying in with the theme, placing them in threes like I always do, creating this imaginary triangle near the floral clusters, which brings in a sense of movement between all the elements of the card. So with that, I have my card complete, and I am very happy with the way this looks. I could also use just a congratulations sentiment there, and I think this makes for such a great wedding card. Really love how this has turned out. I really hope that I have been able to give you ideas with this die set and this technique, and this inspires your next card creation.